In a previous video, we learned how to greet in Maninka in the most basic way. In this video, we're going to cover greetings extended, which means we're going to unpack some of the things that are frequently or almost always said after the very basic greetings like isoma, iniwura, etc. Earlier, we learned that basic greeting exchanges go like this. Iniwura, mba, iniwura, meaning good afternoon. Mba, good afternoon. This basic exchange is possible, but greetings will almost always go on much longer. This typically happens via a question about how someone has passed the night or day. In the morning, that is, whenever you greet someone with soma, the question that someone will often ask you is tanamasi, meaning has an ill not passed the night? Tanamasi. This expression comes from tana, meaning ill, evil, or even totem, and the verb kasi, meaning to pass the night. The exact details of what are going on grammatically aren't important right now. Let's just say the sentence idiomatically means, did you pass the night without an ill? Or more colloquially, did you sleep well? Tanamasi can appear either directly after a response like mba, isoma, or it may simply take its place. For instance, alu ni soma, and say tanamasi, meaning good morning to multiple people, and say, did you pass the night without an ill? A similar expression is used in the same way for the three other times of day, tele, wura, su. But we need to change one word. Instead of tanamasi, we have tanamateleng, meaning, did you pass the day without an ill? Or more literally, has an ill not passed the day? Tanamateleng. As you can see, it involves the same word, tana, plus a verb, ka teleng, which means to pass the day. This gives us the following extended greeting questions for the different times of day. During soma, we say tanamasi, and then during tele, wura, and su, we say tanama teleng. Note, you may also hear both of these questions with an optional word ba at the end. For example, tanamasi ba or tanamantle ba. This is simply a formal way of marking a sentence as a yes or no question. You'll learn more about it down the road. After this initial extended greeting, people will often ask you about someone else in your social circles. They often do so with the following expression. Tanate ixla, meaning, is there not an ill upon X? Or more literally, an ill is not X upon. In this expression, X can be replaced by just about anything. Some of the more typical things to ask about, though, are the person you're talking to or other people. For instance, tanate ila, meaning, is an ill not upon you? Tanate ila. Also, the expression tanate ixla can sound to be written as a contraction when the word following te starts with a vowel. For instance, tanate ila is often written instead tanatila. This kind of thing is common when two vowels meet across word boundaries. You'll learn more about it down the road. Here's a few other examples of the kind of words you might hear people use to ask about other people. Ike, meaning your husband. Imuso, meaning your wife. Dembaya, meaning the family. Proper names like Aminata or Mamadou. And finally, La Guinea-Kalu, meaning the people of Guinea. This comes from the suffix ka, which attaches to place names to mean a person from somewhere. Note, the postposition la generally turns into na when it is preceded by a word that ends with a nasal sound. For example, tanate iden la, meaning there isn't an ill upon the child, often becomes tanate iden na, because the word den, meaning child, ends with nasalization. Sometimes people simply ask about places. When this happens, there's generally no need to use the postposition la, which I've been translating as upon. For instance, tanatei, meaning, is there not an ill there? As in, is everything going okay where you are? Tanatei. Here's a few other words that you may hear people use to ask about places. Yang, meaning here. Lagine, meaning Guinea. Kangkang, meaning which is a major Maninka-speaking city in the highlands of Guinea. Luma, meaning in the courtyard, as in at home. So I'm working on the video right now and I actually forgot to say this, but if that list was a little bit fast and you want some extra help, then there's a link down in the description below that can give you access to a text, audio flashcards, and exercises that'll help you go over everything that we cover in this video. Otherwise, let's get back to it. So how does one respond to the two extended greeting questions that we just covered? Just like we can successfully answer the question, how are you, with different responses in English, I'm all right, I'm good, I'm doing well, there's a lot of different ways that we can respond in Maninka. For starters, I want to offer one simple option because you can generally use it as an all-purpose response during greetings. Tana site, meaning there isn't any ill. Or more literally, ill, any, or none, there isn't, which is a little bit similar to the double negative that you sometimes hear in English if someone says, there ain't no ill. Tana site. This expression works just fine on its own as a response to tanamasi, tanamantle, or tanate x la. Here's an example of how it works in practice. Initle, mba initle, tanamantle, tanasite, tanate dembayala, tanasite, tanate ameriki, tanasite. Meaning, good day, mba, good day. Is the day passing in peace? There's no ill. There's no ill upon the family? There's no ill. There's no ill in America? There's no ill. Depending on where you are and who you are with, the expression tanasite may not be the most typical way to respond to questions. In fact, as you'll notice, people often switch between a range of different responses. I've chosen a few of the most common responses and paired them with simplified translations. Don't worry about the grammar of the expressions for now. What's most important for the time being is that they roll off your tongue like canned responses in a greeting exchange that you have with someone. Tanate ixla or tanasite ixla, meaning suffering isn't upon X, or no suffering is upon X. Ixka kende, meaning X is healthy. And finally, ixyeang, meaning X is here. Remember, you need to fill in X with the appropriate pronoun based off the question that someone asks you. Here's a sample dialogue to show you what I mean. Make sure to note how the pronouns change based off the preceding question. Tanatila, tanateunna, tanateimusola, akakende, tanate denenuna, tanasite alula. Meaning, is there an ill upon you? There isn't an ill upon me. Is there an ill upon your wife? She is healthy. Is there an ill upon your children? There's no ill upon them. You'll learn more about the different forms that pronouns can take down the road. For now, here's a simplified list to get you started. Ne, or nde, meaning I. I, ile, a, meaning you. A, meaning he, she. Ang, meaning we. Alu, meaning you all. And alu, meaning they. People won't always stick to just using tanamasi, tanamantle, or tanate ixla to ask questions during greetings. In some cases, they may use a variation involving the verbs kasi or katle that you actually already know. It works like this. Heresida or heretlena, meaning, did you pass the night or day in peace? More literally, this means, did peace pass the night or day? Note, the word sida is a conjugated form of the verb kasi. By convention, I'm writing it with a D, but in some cases, you might read or hear it as an R, heresira. This variation between R and D is common in many Maninka words depending on the region, as you'll come to learn down the road. In other cases, people may ask questions that are helpful to know even before you know the grammar behind them. For instance, ixka kende, meaning is X healthy? Ixyedi, meaning how is X? Ixdo, meaning what about X, as in how are they? Note, do, sometimes spelled D-O, is technically a contrastive particle. It's a word that serves to draw our attention to some new topic of discussion. For our purposes though, we can just think of do as meaning and, or what about. Be careful though. Don in Maninka can be easy to mix up with another word in Bambara that is spelled the exact same way. the presentative copula do, which means it is or this is. They're not the same, their meanings are completely distinct. So sorry if you're working on Bambara. A final note on greetings. As you can see, they're much more involved than what one might pick up in a basic English or French class. If you're interested in the cultural side of why this is, think about checking out episode 1 of the street interview series Na Baroque that I did. Otherwise, for now, don't obsess over the exact meaning or grammar of all these questions and responses. Instead, focus on practicing them such that they become second nature responses that you can use as part of a broader ritual of greeting. It won't matter how much you misplace a response here or there by messing up a pronoun, for instance. It will matter, though, if you're able to participate fluidly in the back and forth ritual of greetings in Maninka and in Manding in general. Aiwa. That's hardly the end of greetings, but you now have the essentials to at least sound semi-credible while you continue to pick up words and find your preferred way to respond to questions about your life, loved ones, and all that. Did you find this video helpful? Let me know down in the comments below. Did you find it really helpful and you wish that I would make more videos just like this one? Think about becoming a patron. There's a link down in the description below. Otherwise, I'm Ben Cola.